Hi, and welcome to Cracking the Spiritual Code. I'm psychic medium Randi Sands, and today we're being joined by another internationally known medium, MK Roland, who's a privilege and an honor to have her. Yes, yes. And before we get started, I want everybody to know that this is recorded. So by staying in, you're understanding, accepting, and agreeing to the taping. And this is mainly so that other people can have their questions answered as well. Now, we're not going to ask everybody to self-mute on this one. And we're not going to do that either. I'm going through my notes here. So let me start off by saying that this video is not about advocating the use of cannabis or anything else. I'm simply doing a topic that I get asked about, and I'm asked about frequently. So let's start off by saying, after doing some research on the topic, the use of cannabis appears to date back spiritually, being used spiritually, more than 5,500 years. And I found out some really interesting information. A lot of it, this is probably the best book that I've seen on the topic. And it was funny because I was walking through a bookstore with my wife, and I had been asked about this topic multiple times. And we were going through a New Age section, wasn't looking for anything. And this book was sticking out of the shelf more so than the others and caught my attention. So I ended up picking it up. So when we talk about cannabis, when people think of cannabis and spiritualism, and almost immediately they think of Rastafarianism, right? Which originated in Jamaica, if I remember correctly. But it appears that pygmies claim that God gave them cannabis because they were supposed to be happy and healthy. I guess we're all supposed to have cannabis because we're supposed to be happy and healthy.
It helps.
Here.
So cannabis, it appears, has, like I said, been around more than 5,500 years. There was apparently a bowl found in a cave in Ukraine by archaeologists that suggests that they used to burn the herb for whatever the purpose was that they had it for. Other religions include Taoism. I'm going to butcher this one, you guys. Forgive me. It's Zoroastrianism. Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, and also my people, Judaism. And it seems that not all of these religions smoked it. Some of these religions were actually not permitted to smoke it. So it was either ingested, drank, used as incense, or smoked. You know, even the Native American Indians were smoking it. What I'd like to do is I would like to, well, first of all, I'm going to start off with a funny story just because I think we should have a little humor. So the last time I was in Palm Springs, I was at an undisclosed family member's house. And there was a little bar, you know, or jar, bowl, you know, little bowls you get like at a restaurant with your side dish in it. And it had a bunch of gummy bears in it. I love gummy bears. I live in Florida. Marijuana is not legal here. So I walked by and I couldn't even tell you how many I grabbed. I'm going to guess probably 3 or 4. Threw them in my mouth. I was chewing them. And at some point I said, those taste a little different, but I figured it was probably the brand.
Oh, no.
And we're going to say probably 2 hours later, I was in a world all of my own. In another dimension. And it taught me that when I'm in places where things are legal, not to just pick anything up and put it in my mouth. At least not without asking. So I want to invite MK to step forward And we are going to talk a little bit because MK lives in Lilydale, and this is not permitted in Lilydale. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, why, and what our feelings are, and what have you. So MK, please come forward.
I find this a fascinating topic because, especially in Lilydale, we're actually a dry community, and that goes back to our Victorian roots. So I think most people in Lilydale would have the opinion that any mind-altering anything shouldn't be mixed with mediumship or psychic work. That said, the ability of pharmaceuticals or drugs or whatever word you choose to alter our state of consciousness is undeniable. And the question is, does it create portals? Does it create opportunities that we might not otherwise? Or is it the lazy man shortcut? Notice I said man. Just a little humor. Jokes don't get any better, so you might as well laugh when you don't wait for the better one.
Don't wait for the
I giggled.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I enjoyed it.
I think the biggest argument that someone would make for not mixing spiritual work and anything that affects your level of consciousness is the old fear of inviting in something you really don't want. I, for one, really don't believe in negative energy. I think if there's negative energy, it's something that you have created in your mind, or it's the way you're interpreting something. But if I stick to my spiritualist principles and I believe in God and I believe that God is all there is, there's just not room for that in a universe where God is all there is. So I don't have an opinion, personal opinion one way or another in terms of being judgy. If somebody tries cannabis and they feel it helps them with their meditations or whatever spiritual developmental work that they're doing, hats off to them if they find that it's helpful. I'm not sure I would want to mix that with public dems, but I don't know. I could probably be convinced otherwise.
platform mediumship.
Yeah. I mean, I think it has to be an individual choice. And I would just say, be careful what you wish for, because you may create something that you didn't intend to create.
Yep.
Right, exactly. And I saw a couple people came in, so just so you guys know, this is being recorded. So for me, I have no judgment. I will tell you that in my younger years, I did more than my fair share. You know, I can understand why some of the religions used it for meditation.
Mm-hmm.
It would make it easier. Again, like MK said, is it taking the lazy man's way instead of training your mind? I don't know. And I'm not going to judge it. I certainly, I mean, I understand why Lilydale doesn't permit it. However, I can show you more than a handful of residents in Lilydale that use it constantly. More than a handful.
Absolutely.
Which I'm not going to name because that wouldn't be appropriate. I certainly wouldn't use it to do a reading or platform mediumship in any way, shape, or form. That's just my personal feeling. If somebody's going to do it outside of that, that's up to them, for whatever their spiritual practice. But to do a reading, I feel that we need to be very clear. And that's just, apparently my sister's calling. I apologize again. Just wait. So what is everybody else's thoughts on it?
Can I just make one
Yeah.
other comment? I mean, the work we do is mind altering.
It is. It is,
know,
but
not
it's in a
from a-
different way.
Not from a chemical basis, obviously, but I just wanted to make that comment. Is we are altering our states of awareness, levels of consciousness, etc. when we work.
I agree.
So, just a
sure.
comment.
So I have a question, and because I'm a little curious about this. You know, when we connect with spirit, or we connect with our guides to get the messages that we need for the folks we're working with, you know, to go there, to get to where they're at, sometimes takes a little time, takes a little concentration, a little breathing, etc. Right? So I kind of wonder in my mind, can some people by the use of cannabis, can they go there quicker? Are they able to relax the brain and go to a place where they can connect easier?
Question.
Go ahead, MK.
I think it's a unanswered question right now, and it's probably a very individual answer when it comes.
I like that answer, and I don't have anything to add to it.
Well, I kind of do, because I have a flip side to this.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. I'm on medicinal marijuana. It's very, very different. And there are many different dispensaries. And it's almost like a personality physical profile. I take it for a bad neuralgia condition, but it is absolutely amazing how they break this down. It's very controlled.
Mhm.
And like Centura, all their cannabis is depending on the mood you want, smooth, calm. I have one I can take all day. I don't abuse it. I have more medication here from marijuana. I have everything imaginable, but I always have to be in
I do
control.
too, actually. I do too.
So do I.
Yep.
And I have to drive, but it's amazing how it can absolutely slow you down. You can think clearer. Why are you laughing?
Just
I
wait
have
till
And
Driving
now
under-
they're selling the pure part of the plant. The biggest thing right now is smoking the flower.
Mhm.
And it comes in all different flavors. It's like going to an ice cream store. It's like going to Candyland.
Yes.
You know what,
And-
Marcy? You just answered a question I had, because I tend to be a little high strung. I know everybody's shocked, right? But but seriously, like, if that was my thought, was, you know, if it helps calm you down a little bit, God knows I could use some of that every now and then.
Very calm. You're so peaceful. You can think clearly. I have it in all different strengths. I also have a 9-pound bong, because most of the people that go are addicts. And I've been afraid to try it. I have pills to sleep. I don't sleep. All different things. And it has made a tremendous difference in my life.
And do you
Well,
find that you connect easier with spirit? when
Without question, it opens up. What it does is
Yes.
it slows your metabolism down, so you get more oxygen in your brain and throughout your whole body.
Yep.
Well,
I'm at 99% saturation, so I better not do it.
Yeah, so
I may explode.
And I have no metabolism. You know, have you seen the size of my thighs? I can't slow that sucker down anymore.
You don't have to. There's all different ways you can put it under your tongue. You can rub you this. It's like a full-time job. I got a whole pharmacy in here in my closet.
And Leanne, by the way, this is a woman, MK, you'll have to look at my Facebook.
Oh, God.
Leanne did a video wearing a hat made out of tinfoil.
Oh, Leanne did.
I mean, it was
Oh.
hysterical. I was dying laughing.
It can really help you clear your mind.
Yep.
But that's what you're talking about is recreational.
Right.
And what I'm talking about comes in so many different forms. And
All right.
people who have anxiety, it's great.
Okay,
only-
anybody
I
else
only
have
use that-
anything they'd like to comment?
Yes, I only particularly use that only for when I know that I have to go through a really, really deep meditation, because sometimes it does take forever to get there. But for me, it actually does help me get there just a little bit quicker. Now, I will tell you, the side effects to that is falling asleep, getting up in the morning and be like, I meditated all night.
Is this on medicinal?
Yes, yes.
Oh, it's
I
too
only-
strong for you.
Yes. So actually either one I try is actually way too strong for me. So that's why I only take 1-2 hits at max, and that's the end of it.
Oh, because you got to break it down to morning, afternoon, anytime, or nighttime. If it's nighttime, you're a goner.
Okay. I'm also a massage therapist. I have to be careful with that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
All
Oh,
right, anybody
I'll
else?
take a
Lisa?
massage from you.
Lisa?
No problem,
I just
honey.
think it would be, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, honey.
I just think it would be very interesting. I've actually never used it or tried it. So I have no personal experience one way or the other, but I think it would be interesting to see a bunch of mediums and spiritualists get together maybe and purposely try and start seeing if they did platform or anything, with the understanding that this is a trial basis. We're trying to figure out how this works. I think it would be a great
I think a lot more
research.
truth would come out.
MK, are you ready, honey?
Yeah, sure.
Some of us meeting,
Go
I'm
eat
going
some
to
gummies
be
and
able
do
to shut
platform
up.
mediumship, baby.
We're meeting on Tuesday at Marcy's Closet. Tuesday at Marcy's Closet.
Absolutely.
We can have it on the golf course in Palm Springs. I can arrange that, and I'll make sure.
But it
Hysterical.
comes in, I have a hybrid gel.
Hold on, Marcy. Let's let Lisa talk.
That's
Okay,
all I
so-
wanted to say.
So, you guys are like talking about this cannabis, which, back when I was a teenager, I used to smoke it, but I'll never smoke it again, But I'm looking at the one, it's just, as many times as I smoke it, I got high once, and I ate like 2 pieces of pizza in front of my mom. She didn't even know, and I'm like 17 years old. But anyways, I'm looking at the CBD oil that doesn't have, I guess, that stuff in it. So I'm using this CBD oil from a good company, Gemp. And if I use a half a dropper, I could sleep a little better. But I tried it on my dog, and it doesn't seem to affect him no way. And he has anxiety. So I'm wanting to get into meditation a little bit more. And I want this stuff to help me, but I don't want to overdo it. And I assume it's according to the individual.
Yeah.
But for somebody who has been using it, what do you recommend that I start with so I'm not like passing out after an
Well,
hour?
are you talking recreational? Because that I don't, I never took
Hold on,
recreational.
Marcy, because you're gonna have her going off a deep end, baby.
Can I, Randy, can I jump in?
Yes.
Pretty knowledgeable on this.
Yes.
CBD oil will not get you high.
No.
It will
Right.
not make you knock out. There's
Nope.
only medicinal in it. There's no THC.
I
THC, the
lost you.
technical cannabis, is what gets high. CBD is medical part.
Yeah, it
CBD
depends.
oils, my daughter
Medical CBD.
has some issues with anxiety and depression, and I put her on those CBD oils, and you can tell a complete difference.
Wow.
So CBD will not even show up in a urine sample. It's not marijuana. The CBD is only medicinal use, and it's wonderful for, if you do your research, it's diabetes. I mean, it's beyond the scope of just certain medical things. I mean, it's seizures, it's all kinds of things, and I'll assure you, it will never show up on a urine test at work. because there is nothing illegal. As a matter of fact, I live in Oregon and our stores are selling, our Bi-Mart,
Yeah.
I mean, our stores are selling CBD oils.
Wow.
California as well.
Donna Lisa, would you like to comment? You guys, out of everybody in this room right now, and I love all of you, but I have known that woman for eons. And she's an amazing lady. Would
Is
you
that
like to
Donna
comment?
Lisa? Donna Lisa?
Yes, that's Donna Lisa.
Yeah.
Damn.
Who's
How
that?
are you, pal? Jamie.
I don't see, it's black.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see her.
Yeah, I see you, so I don't know. Oh, I see.
I
what
don't
you're-
see Jamie.
Yeah, somebody doesn't have their they don't have their
Video recording.
Whoever is old phone rehab.
Uh,
I don't know. Anyways,
you asked
Yeah.
for my comment. I am absolutely a person who does not believe in CBD for myself. People have said to me many times in my life, do you do drugs? And my answer is, imagine. My energy is something that I cherish and I really treasure working with. And what I actually teach people is how to work with your energy, how to purge physical and emotional toxins, working with breath. I have absolutely found that someone was speaking earlier about the fact that for the past 2 years, this was in the last call, that for the past 2 years, she's discovered that meditation is the answer. Okay. And without a doubt, meditation is extremely difficult. To sit there and take thoughts and have a thought and go, okay, I'm going to take the thought and go, is a constant practice. You hear about Pema Chodron, and she's been meditating for, I believe, 40 years, and she still says she doesn't know how to meditate fully because the thoughts come and they go, they come and they go, they come and they go. So it's not that I say to folks, don't use the CBD oil if that's what you find works for you. But I absolutely encourage people to take the time to learn the practice of breathing through Qigong. And for many people, it's they're intimidated by it because it's an aspect of yoga. It's an aspect of yoking with the universe. But what happens is that you're able to take your energy and move it between the heavens and the earth. And when you get to that place where you're very, very unsettled, you're able to bring your energy down into your lower dantian and ground. And earlier in the other phone call, some folks were mentioning that they've become very upset, emotionally distraught when they are in the healthcare profession, when they're in big groups of people. And I just wanted to give the advice that if you take the time to practice Qigong, to understand breathing, just deep movement of energy, what you can very simply do is stand with your hands. You have your thumb inside one, thumb inside the other, and you put it at right below your belly button. And you stand and you breathe in, breathe fully into your belly through your nose, and breathe fully out through your nose. And if you're able to work with that energy and connect with that energy that you teach yourself in Qigong, like this, you can get back to it when you're in the midst of uneasy energy. So that's sort of a fast overview.
I would like to interject. I know exactly what she's talking about. I used to take the class, and the first time I went, I found it very frustrating because you slow your body way down. It's an hour of very slow movement of energy, and at the end of each class, you feel like you were reborn. It is the most marvelous feeling I've ever had, and I can relate exactly to what you're saying. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of instructors around to offer this marvelous way of breathing and moving your energy.
Which
it is
why I mentioned
probably the most healing
YouTube.
thing I've ever done.
So is there a
Wonderful.
YouTube?
Donna Lisa, go ahead.
I was just saying that's part of the reason that I mentioned YouTube. You would be very surprised how beautiful
I know.
some of the instructors are.
Yeah.
And that will help you. And it's repetition, just like any healing aspect of the body that has to do with natural impetus. It doesn't happen like this. It's repetition.
And let me tell you guys, if anybody knows about stress, she has a very special, very stressful job. She's a producer for TV, correct? So that's a pretty stressful job, and that's how she keeps herself stress-free. Getting back to the cannabis, like I said to you guys, when I was younger, I was a frequent flyer. I had a lot of miles. I had a lot of miles built up.
I'm still collecting mine.
Yeah, that's my sister, by the way.
I've only just started.
What I can tell you guys is when I stopped, I really started enjoying life, because what I found is I had energy. I had energy to get things done. I mean, I always went to work. I was a very hard worker. I made good living and what have you. That wasn't an issue. But when I got home, I became a couch potato. And when I stopped, which I stopped when I became a union iron worker, because if you got hurt on the job, they tested you.
She got hurt all the time.
Donna Lisa knew me when I was still working iron, you guys, when I was humping tons of steel on my back every day. And all of a sudden I had so much energy, it wasn't even funny. So, you know, it's a personal choice, and it's got to be what works for each person. You know, you've gotten a lot of different perspectives here tonight, and I would say none of them are wrong. You know, it's just a matter of personal choice.
Yep.
Does anybody else have anything they would like to say?
Medical marijuana works.
I have a quick question as far as I'm still in a state that's illegal, and I don't know a lot about it, but for those of you that maybe have some experience, what, you know, I mean, I know it just, there's so many different kinds, but especially like you hear the argument between the sativa and the indica. Like, what are your experiences? Have you tried both? What do you think of them?
Honestly, for me, I've tried both. My favorite one that works for me personally is actually a hybrid, only because that way it doesn't completely make me fall asleep.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make me feel like it still has me awake and functional. So for personal preference, I like my hybrid better than I do just doing straight sativa or straight indica. I prefer hybrid.
I don't need help taking a 4-hour nap. I'm good. I just need, you know.
Yeah. Let me break it down for you a little bit more, Leanne. When I used to be a frequent flyer, indica will put you to sleep.
Yeah.
Sativa is what you want if you're going to go out on the town. It's a pick you upper.
Mm-hmm.
The hybrid she's talking about is somewhere in the middle.
No, I want the stuff that'll make me want to fold the dishes.
That would be sativa.
That's why I
Yeah,
gotta find
that'd be straight
Hold
sativa.
the dishes all night long.
that. You gotta find that.
That's straight sativa.
But that can also, sativa can make you also very paranoid, because I know I tried it once and I was like out of my mind.
Yeah.
Yep.
I prefer, as they call it, in the couch.
Yes.
And the way that I learned
That's
it was
funny.
indica was in the bed.
In the business.
But I,
Walk
you know,
in the town.
I have one question for MK Roland, and she talks about, you know, Lilydale not doing this, right? So is there a chance, because in the culture that I come from, we do talk about, you know, when you are drinking or when you are under the influence of anything, that when you do your spiritual work, that you can sometimes get confused and let something bad in. I don't want to believe that's true, but have you heard of that being something that's true and possible?
The answer to that is yes, but the caveat is you create your own reality according to natural law. So the negative that you let in isn't really, in my opinion, a force or an entity or an energy that naturally exists. It's something that you've created because of the, you know, how you're reacting to these, you know, whether it's cannabis or anything else, how you're reacting, what your natural tendencies are. You know, are you more of a pessimistic person, more of an optimistic person? You're going to create that. If something negative comes in, it's a creation, is my opinion.
Got it.
Did that help at all or answer what you were asking?
Yeah, and it sounds like it goes back to what Randi talked about, and that's really that we're in control, right? And you gotta really understand that, and really understand that if there is those negative thoughts in our head, they could be amplified or create something that's not good, but that we can also have the ability to get ourselves out of it. So it's really
Right,
kind of
absolutely.
And you have choices, you know, like I was telling you guys in the mediumship class the other night, because George is part of my online mediumship class. He's one of my students. Your life is what you want it to be. You can be as negative as you want to be, or your life can be as magical as you want it to be. And it takes training your mind, because we have a tendency to walk outside and we say, oh, yeah, well, I'm outside. But like I told you guys the other night, it's different to walk outside and you look at this magnificent tree and you say, oh my goodness, how magical is that tree? Look at all the foliage, that's magnificent. The birds live in it. Look at all the insects that must live within the bark, and look at the roots that hold it and everything that lives within that. You can find the magic everywhere.
Yep.
If you train your mind to do it.
I think this is a good time to interject what we all know about, but just bring it to the forefront, and that's intention.
Yes, exactly.
You know, setting your intention is where your control begins.
Yep.
And if you will indulge me, I'd just like to repeat one of my favorite sayings. It uses the word sorceress and sorcerers in it, but it doesn't mean witches or wizards or warlock wizards. Yeah, okay. I didn't think it came out right. It means people who are working from the source. So when you hear me say the word sorcerer, I just mean it's a person who's working with the source. So it goes like this. Intention is a power that exists in the universe. And when sorcerers beckon intent, it comes to them and it lays down the path for attainment, which means sorcerers always accomplish what they set out to do.
Yep.
And I also want to point out that thoughts are prayers.
Yes.
So whatever you're thinking, if it's positive, it's a positive prayer. If you're thinking negative, it's a negative prayer. And what you fear most, you're manifesting.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't get better than that.
So I think that we've pretty much gotten through this topic. I think we've really dissected it pretty well. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's interesting.
So what I'm going to do, MK was kind enough to join us. So what I am going to do is I'm going to share something with you guys. If anybody resonated with MK, and if you want to book a reading with her or anything along those lines, this is her info where she can be reached.
I field a lot of questions from people. So, don't think if you call me, it has to be because of a reading or something. If you're struggling with a concept or you need somebody to bounce something off, I'm very happy to do that.
Oh, and she does it with me all the time.
Well, we do it with each other.
Yes. And if anybody wants to reach out to me, my preferred method of mediumship is animal communication. I do all types, but that's my preferred. And this is my contact info here.
You can't see it.
What exactly do you mean by animal communication?
That's a really good question. I like to connect with animals. So I will talk to deceased animals. I will work with living animals as well. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Who asked it? Because I had my screen blocked. Oh, okay.
Whitney.
Okay, Whitney. So yes, I prefer to, I do mediumship with people as well. And a lot of times, in all honesty, the animals will come in first and the people will follow right behind them. But animal is my preferred. All right. And it has been absolutely wonderful having you guys here. I've really enjoyed this. And we're going to do a lot more of these. Let me give you guys, and by the way, those videos should be up on YouTube probably within a week. And if you know anybody you think would benefit from them, have them go. Have them like and subscribe, and that way they'll know whatever comes further. I'm going to tell you guys right now that we've got a few things coming up. We have one coming up on the 23rd of this month with world famous John White. And that will be ethics and mediumship. And that'll be the 23rd at 8, just like this. We've got one on the 26th at 8 with Mario Quindo, and that's on crystals and grids. And she's fabulous.
What's grits?
Grids.
Grids.
Oh, grids. I love grids.
And then we've got a couple workshops coming up as well. MK is going to be teaching a workshop. It's actually an amazing workshop on numerology. And that's on the 30th. Those you'll have to go to Cracking the Spiritual Code and register for. Those are paid, but they're very, 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 very reasonable. And those will be going up on the website in the next couple days. And I am going to be doing one on March 27th that's going to be called Creative Thinking. We're going to be going into a time here with all that's going on with the coronavirus where there's money to be made, but we have to think outside the box. Okay, look at the guy with the pet rock, the Chia pet. There's a million things out there, and we just have to think outside the box. So I'll be doing a workshop on that. And then I'm also going to be doing on April 6th, a workshop on how to set appropriate goals without being overwhelmed and how to break them down so that you can accomplish them in a timely fashion. All right. Those are some things coming up, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. MK, did you enjoy it?
I had a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
No, thank you, honey, for taking the time.
Thank you.
And it's so nice to meet you all. I've heard great things about you from Randi, so I wish you much happiness and peace on your unfoldment.
Thank
I
you.
talk about you guys all the time.
I agree.
She brags a little.
About you guys.
All right, guys. So everybody have an amazing, an amazing week, please. And let's all get back together and do some more of these.
Definitely.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
It was
Have a
great
good
to
night.
see you all.
All right. Bye-bye.
Nice meeting you guys.
Thank
Y'all
you.
have a-
Love to all of you.
Y'all have a good night.
Thank you.